we studied that particular line and verse 11, where this great idea of mutuality, interdependence is emphasized. Parasparam avayanta, shreya param, avapsyata. It's a principle of social life also the same. Parasparam avayanta. Not by fighting with each other, confronting each other, but helping each other, serving each other. All will rise to the highest level. That is also true with regard to man and his environment. There also there is a mutuality. If you take and not give back, then you will suffer. Take and give back. Take and give back. That is the nature of a healthy human-environmental relation. And as I said last Sunday, today we are realizing it by experiencing the evils of over technology, industrialization, and all the various troubles that come from poisoning our environment, including the faraway environment, that is the or in the depth of sky, where the seeming of high frequency radiation from the sun is done by a particular nature's arrangement. We are already spoiling that also. So this subject is of vital importance to the human being, and the whole thing comes under one word, yajna, originally meaning ritual sacrifice. But in the Gita, it means this ethical sense, this spirit of service, this capacity to give and not only to take. Therefore it is parasparam bhavayanta, shreya param, avapsyata. Nature, if it is too much exploited, will destroy man himself. And that lesson is given home to us in modern experience. So, parasparam bhavayanta, that is a beautiful idea. Then finally, the idea goes on, and there are a few verses more. And when you come to verse 16, the very word comes there. Ecological cycle, that word cycle comes there. Chakram, they call it here. There is a chakram of events. Just like as you see, a seed, then a sprout, then a plant, then flower, then fruit, again back to seed. There is a chakram there. So also solar energy coming to the earth, becoming plants, energy goes back again. In this way there is a chakra. This is going on. And this is a cosmic principle according to this Gita chapter. We are concerned only with the earth and the nearby environment. Actually it is a cosmic principle. The give and take principle in the universe, utter interrelatedness of things of the cosmic dimension. That's what today's astronomy, also astrophysics, will tell us. So, Ishtan Bhogan Divo Deva Dasyante Yajnapalita Tayad Dattana Pradayebhyo Yo Bhumte Stena Evasaha. Whenever you give back to nature, nature also gives you good things. We are seeing already our forests are being depleted and our weather is getting into trouble. And weather gets into trouble means you and I get into trouble. So we are slowly realizing the truth. So, Ishtan Bhogan Divo Deva. When you give what is due to nature, and nature is God's, and they will give you back what is good for you. But Tayadattana Pradayebhyo, what they have given, you don't return back to them their share. Then what happens? Yo bhumpe stena evasa. Such a person is a thief. He doesn't give back what is due to nature and nature's laws. So they Gita called such a person a thief. The whole of modern civilization is a thief from that point of view. Today scientific consciousness has come, we shall not be a thief hereafter. That's why there is a big program of afforestation going on all over India. Social forestry. We are giving back to nature something we have destroyed and we are suffering. So give back. Then you enjoy what comes to you. Then you are healthy. Give back and enjoy. But don't give back and enjoy. Then you are a thief. The word used is stena. Stena in Sanskrit means a thief. Man is a thief with respect to the environment. And the thief will be punished. And that punishment is already going on. All the rivers are polluted, all the waters are polluted. In many places, extreme pollution is there. We are also experiencing the same thing here. Yajnashishtarashinas santo muchyante sarvavidvishaihi unjate te taham papa evajanti atmakarana. Whatever you take after giving, that is yajnashishta, the technical term. Yajnashishta is what you call prasada. At your temple offering, you take prasada. As we say, Yajnashishta means the prasad. Whatever is the prasad is holy food. What is not a prasad is bad for human system. Yajnashishtasina santo muchyante sarvakin vishai. He becomes free from all evil, from all sin, because he is taking only after giving to gods what belongs to them. The rest only he thinks. That is perfectly correct. Even in the social context, you earn, give your taxes, what remains is your wealth you enjoy. Not by trying to avoid paying taxes through all sorts of tricks we do, and society suffers thereby, you also suffer. This idea we have to imprint upon the mind that you can't get a social order without paying for it. Tax is what we do, pay to make for a stable society. Those who avoid taxation and do all sorts of tricks for it, they are not citizens. They are not fit to live in an ordered society. They must have a life of their own, separate, in some island. That's it. Yajnashishtashinas santo muchyante sarvavidvishai. Such people become free from all vidvisha. Vidvisha means sin or evil. Then comes the statement, Bhunjate param papa evajanti atmakarana. It's a very profound idea. He who cooks only for oneself and eats oneself separately without caring for others, he eats only so much of sin as an language. Bhunjate param papa. Bhunjate, enjoy. They, such people, agham, sin, and papa, both, agham, papa. Ye pajanti, those who cook, atmakarana, only for oneself. I am only looking for myself. I don't care for others. That attitude is extremely bad. There are others also whom you have to take care. Therefore, very often in our older Hindu traditional houses, they keep a small portion after the cooking is over. That is given to any beggar or any other birds, whosoever they need it, they keep it separate. Then only the rest we utilize. That is the custom was there. The idea behind it is this. Unjate swaham papa evajanti atmakarana. In the Gita, Mahabharata and Manusmriti, this idea is expressed. Ahamsa kevalam bhunte evajanti atmakarana. Man who cooks and eats only himself, eats only so much of sin, doesn't care for others. That kind of thing, that self-centeredness, that is not appreciated at all. So this is one important idea. Don't eat sin, eat virtue. That food becomes virtue when it becomes a prasad. You have given something to people and you got what remained, that's beautiful. So this is a constant idea. Yajna comes there, that giving idea. Wherever giving idea is there, that is yajna. And that's called tyag. You are renouncing something. What remains is the blessed foods for you. That's the great teaching coming from Isha Upanishad. The first verse. Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Enjoy life through renunciation. Then only you get the best of life. You hold on to life, everything yourself, you will never enjoy the best of life. So tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Enjoy through renunciation. That is the eternal teaching. So in verse 14 and 15 verses, you find this chain is mentioned. Finally, that chain will be expressed by a separate verse. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhava. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Yajna karma samudbhava. This is the chain of events. First, you get food. How does it come? From annat bhavati bhutani. From food comes all of us. All living beings come from food. Annat bhavati bhutani. Then how does food come? Parjanyat anna sambhava. From rain, food comes. As soon as rain doesn't come, food also suffers. Parjanyat anna sambhava. Yajna bhavati parjanyo. When you keep up that yajna spirit with respect to the environment, then rain also will come in due time. Otherwise you can spoil the whole rainfall system by spoiling your environment. So yajna bhavati parjanyo. Parjanyo comes from yajna. What was the ritualistic idea in the Vedas, Karmakanda of the Vedas, becomes converted into an ethical idea of renunciation and service in the Gita. Yajna bhavati parjanyo. Then yajna karma samudbhava. Yajna is the product of karma by action. Out of that only yajna. Yajna means an action. An action oriented to the welfare of all around you apart from yourself. That's called yajna. Yajna is an action. So you found anna, parjanya, yajna, and now karma. These four items have come. Then it still continues. Karma brahmotbhavam vidhi. Brahma akshara samudbhavam. Tasma sarvagatam brahma. Nityam yajne pratishthitam. Consider, karma is born out of Brahma. Brahma here means the Vedas. Vedas are often referred to as Brahma. Karma brahmotbhavam vidhi. Karma is inculcated in the Vedas. So there you get this teaching. Karma, Vedo, brahmotbhavam vidhi. Brahma akshara samudbhavam. Where from the Vedas came? From the imperishable reality itself. That from the imperishable Brahman, the Vedas came as series of truths regarding the world and human life and destiny. So, Veda comes from Akshara, the imperishable. Karma brahmotbhavam vidhi, Brahma akshara samudbhavam. Tasmat sarvagatam Brahma, nityam yajne pratishthitam. This Brahman, which is all-pervading, is found established in yajna. Whenever you do a dedicated action, you are already expressing that infinite Brahman, imperishable reality. Tasmat sarvagatam Brahma, nityam yajne pratishthitam. Vivekananda said therefore, renunciation and service are the twin ideals of India. Intensify her in those channels, the rest will take care of itself. What a wonderful teaching. The whole of ethical life is concentrated in two principles, renunciation and service. Renunciation of what? This self-centered ego. That has to be renounced. The larger self must manifest. Then every action becomes service. That's why renunciation is the preceding value. The succeeding value is service. You can't do service without renunciation. If I want to help somebody, to that extent I must give up my own self-interest, then only I can go and help. And so, renunciation and service is what is meant by this concept of yajna. A ritualistic concept that either becomes transformed into a highly ethical principle, making for integration of man and man in society and man and nature outside. Therefore, he said here, there is this infinite Atman, Brahman, imperishable reality, finds expression in every act of yajna that you do. Such a wonderful idea it is, that far away Brahman is close to you when you convert your action into yajna. Protection of animal species, plant species, and human beings. We have responsibility for all of them, only because we have the brain, power to destroy all of them or to build up all of them. Man has got a tremendous responsibility. Therefore, if he doesn't use this responsibility to express his actions in terms of yajna, he will ruin everything and he will ruin himself also. That's why everything is centered in yajna, sacrifice. Sacrifice, not ritual, but this sense of dedication. The large self meaning oneness with all, oneness with nature, oneness with man. I am here to help you. I am a friend. That attitude. And I enjoy whatever remains from after that kind of service and dedication is over. So, verse 16 now, where this concept of cycle is expressed very explicitly. Evam pravartitam chakram yo na anuvartati iha yaha ahaya indriyaram moham partasa devati. Krishna is very, very emphatic on this question. This chakra, which has been established from the very beginning of this universe, when the cosmic evolution started, this chakra also started. This, what you call connected cycle. Evam pravartitam chakra. He who does not follow this, na anuvartati yaha. In this life, who neglects this concept of chakra, he breaks it, makes it one-sided, selfish, self-centered, etc. And what happens? Aghayuhu. His life is a life of sin, a life of evil. Aghayu. Ayu means life, agha is sin or evil. Aghayuhu. Why is he aghayu? Indriyaramo. He is delighted in his own sensory system. He wants to pattern his sensory life. He doesn't care for anything. Just like poaching in the forest, destroying fine birds, fine animals, though we have forbidden it. But we do why? I want to sell it, make plenty of money. I want to live a comfortable life in a big hotel. All these things. Aghayuhu, because Indriya Arama. Most of these evils come from Indriya Arama. Delight in the senses. After a certain limit, it is okay. Beyond that, it is dangerous. Today, we make a distinction in all international discussions on the subject between man's need and man's wants. And Gandhiji said, there is enough in this world to meet human needs, but there is not enough to meet human wants. Wants are multiplying all the time. Why do they do so? We yield to our sensory cravings all the time. Mind cannot discriminate. Though man has got that wonderful mind, which no animal has, the power of discrimination, the buddhi, viveka shakti. Therefore, when a whole society becomes indriya arama, devoted only to satisfying sensory cravings, then that society begins to decline. In fact, all civilizations begin to decline when indriya arama people increase in their society. Past history, you can see the same thing. In our own history, it has happened several times. This indriya arama, pleasure, comfort, nothing else, nothing higher. So the whole thing goes down. Aghayuhu, that life becomes full of evil, full of sin. Indriya arama, moham partha devati partha. Such people's life is absolutely empty, meaningless. Moham means absolutely meaningless life they live. This Indriyarama life is a meaningless life. All the animals live accordingly. And I follow the same. What is unique about me, I am not expressed through that. I can regulate all this. I can concern myself with others. But Indriyarama cannot help you to do so. So these two are combined. Akhayaho, Indriyarama, Moham Partha Sajivati. His life is in vain, absolutely meaningless, empty, as we call it. Say for example in India, 300 million people are suffering from poverty, backwardness, illiteracy. And a few percentage of people have plenty of money and they indulge in it plenty. Look at them. Their life is empty, absolutely meaningless. They have no concern with what's around them. So it's an empty life. And in this country, this is firmly told. Your life is empty. You may have plenty of money, you may waste all of them. But so long as people are suffering here, you don't care a hang for them, then yours is an empty life. Moham Partha Sajivati. They live an empty life thereby, a meaningless life thereby. This is the wonderful statement in verse 16. And in 17, you find another type of life right before you. When a man becomes pure, disciplined in the senses, and realizes his own infinite self, the Atman, then he becomes a unique type of person. He has no duty, he has no responsibility, he doesn't do any harm to anybody. His very existence is a blessing to society. That concept is brought in the verse 17. Yastu atmajatareva syat atmatuttasya manavaha atmanyeva santushtah tasya karyam na vidyate. That person has no karyam, no duties, nothing to look for him, because he has attained fulfillment. This evolution has reached its consummation in him. How does he achieve it? Atma-ratirevasya. His joy is the infinite self, God hidden within all of us. Rati means delight. Even it is considered as a word for sex delight also. But all delight is given through this word Rati. And here the Rati is Atma-ratirevasya. He has found tremendous joy in the Atman, in the infinite self, the one self in all beings. Yastu Atma-ratirevasya Atma-bhuttasya manava. He is also fully contented in the Atman. He doesn't need anything from outside. He doesn't want to get any sensory object for his joy. He is full of joy within himself. That language is expressed here, taken from the Upanishad. Atma-rati is a word coming in the Upanishads. Rati, I find delight in that, but I don't want anything external. I find delight in myself. That comes only at a high level of evolution. Rati we want pleasure, we want comfort, we want delight. In the beginning, I get it in objects, but when I evolve, I realize that I, as an infinite self, is far superior to all the things that are there. When that knowledge comes, we come to this, we have to say, Atma-ratirevasya Atma-tuttasya manavaha Atmanyeva santushtara. He finds delight in the Atman only. So such a person, tasya karyam na vidyate. He has no duties, nothing. He is absolutely free. He is full. His very life is a blessing. He will not do anything. Because why do we do? We are not full. We want to fulfill ourselves. So I do an act. I want something. I want something. Suppose you are hungry and somebody carries food. So please bring that food. I want that food. He says, suppose you are full stomach, finished, you are eating. Somebody carries food. You don't care about it because you are full already. These are only occasional experiences for an average human being. But there is an experience where this can be a constant experience. When you realize the Atman, your mind doesn't go out at all, this and that. Because there is no desire, there is no action. There is no action without desire. Impelled by desire, you engage in action. Here it is mere living is the truth of this particular quality. He just lives a full life. With that he does much more work than what we do with our own hands and feet, etc. Tasya karyam na vidyate. Why? The next verse explains it. Says, Naiva tasya kripena asko na videne kasyana na jasya svabodheshu tasya artharya vashraya. He has nothing to achieve by doing some work. Naiva tasya kripena asko. Take a young boy, age of 10 and 12, they must constantly teach him, work hard. You have to achieve many things. In fact, the very word achievement is a technical word used by Hume of Zurich in his book, Modern Man in Search of a Soul. A young person must be asked to work hard, go into the world, achieve something. That's called achievement. That's not the time to keep quiet at home or remain without any work, not at all. If you go in him, let him go out, work, satisfy his desires, make achievement, the goal of his life at that stage. That is very important. It's called achievement. The same person, after achievement is over, begins to think of something higher. Then he withdraws his mind from action and achievement. There is something which I have missed, my own true nature. Let me try to realize this truth. That is the second stage. And Hume calls it culture. This is achievement, that is culture. For a young person, achievement should be the goal. And same person, having achieved something here, don't continue this achievement too long, but turn to culture, personality, enrichment, as he calls it. That we have neglected because of what for achievement. Now I am free. Don't continue achievement too long. In Hume's language, in one sentence he said, he who continues to pursue achievement beyond what you have already got in your life, he will certainly become poorer in his inner life. That's the language he has used there. So, this particular person whose knowledge and joy and sport is in the Atman, he has nothing to gain in this world by running about here and there. He is fulfilled. If at all he opens his mouth, it is for the good of others. If at all he does something, it is for the good of others. He has nothing of his own to gain. That Krishna will tell later on in this very section. Ramakrishna said, very beautiful example. You put ghee, butter on the fire in a pan, and when it is hot, you put a cake material into it. Then it goes on sizzling. That sound is called sizzling, because it is still unripe. It's not cooked yet, so sizzling goes on. Once it has become cooked, all sizzling stops. Absolutely calm and quiet. We are all in the sizzling stage. There were so many things to achieve. Then Ramakrishna said, but when you put a second cake again sizzling will start. Because there is somebody's desire to be fulfilled, so I also go out of myself to help him in that way. But it's different. Here it is free, not compelled by nature. That is the second step. That Krishna will refer to it later on. When you have nothing of your own to gain, you serve to help others to gain their interest in life. That is a wonderful quality of human life. These are the two dimensions. Both are welcome. Achievement is great. Personality is still great. Greater than this, we must have both in human life. So, naivatasya kripena artho, na agritene rakashana. Either by doing, nor by not doing, he is going to gain anything. He has achieved fulfillment. Nachasya sarvabhuteshu kasya artha. He has not to look before any being to achieve something for himself. That is artha. I want to gain some advantage from somebody. We say like that. In this manner, in this case, He has to go nobody before nobody to gain anything. He has gained the highest, the self itself, the infinite Atman, which is all the goal towards which even these achievement activities finally will lead us to. So, this idea that there is a stage where we go beyond desire, and today's civilization is making thinkers aware that there is too much of what you call the tyranny of consumerism that is ruining the whole civilization. Consumerism, sensory craving and enjoyment. There is endless sensory craving and enjoyment. That should not be. Put a limit. Put a limit. Very often you will find in books this subject is discussed, and about America it is said that 6% of people of the world are enjoying 40% of the world's resources. That's America today. High consumption, high consumerism, and the others cannot get anything. After all, there is a limit to things that are there in this world. So many protests are coming from various sections of society against this wrong philosophy of consumerism. And when that philosophy is properly understood, we turn our energy a little inward. Let me see what is my own true nature. I am not this sensory system. There is something higher. That person is described here. Nachanasya sababhuteshu kaschid arthavyapashraya. He has not to go for anybody and pray, give me this, give me that. He is full. He is fulfilled. That stage also is there. As this stage is there, that stage also is there. Full of desire and no desire. That also, both are true. So, Krishna is dealing with that subject here, and he will take his own example in this matter. He says, what shall we do then? So the next sloka says, a very important verse, 19. Tasma rasaktas sapatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharam karma paramatmode purushaha. Therefore, tasmat asaktam karma samachara. Perform actions in a spirit of detachment. Asaktam, sakti means attachment, sakti, and sangha. And is negation. Sakti, asakta. Without any attachment, perform your actions. Tasmad asakta satatam, constantly. Any amount of work you can do, if there is no impulsion of this craving or sensory desire, I must have this, I must have that kind of attitude. Tasmad asakta satatam, karyam karma samachara, asakto hyajanam karma, paramapnoti purusha. One who performs actions in a spirit of detachment, he or she will achieve the highest realization. Paramapnoti will achieve the supreme here in this very life itself. That is the teaching Gita is going to stress again and again. Tasmāt asaktas sapatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharam karma paramapnoti purusha. To be detached is very difficult, but that doesn't mean we should not start trying. In the beginning it is difficult. As you go on doing, you find more and more areas you are able to perform this spirit of non-attachment. That is, by example, by constant struggle, we can cover up our life with this spirit of non-attachment. Action goes on. Attachment is not there. Why not? Why should it be impossible? In fact, very often when we hear these things, the idea comes, oh, it is impossible. Meant only for saints and sages. Like that people think like that. Gandhiji was asked about non-violence. Oh, it is impossible, people say. Then Gandhiji said, in this marvelous scientific age, how many impossible things are becoming possible? Why not this also? He asked like that. After him, we have seen many more impossible things. Man landing on the moon, seeing the other side of the moon. Nobody has seen the other side of the moon. We have been told all these thousands of years. Nobody has seen the other side of the moon. But what an impossible thing we have done today. We have seen the other side of the moon. We have gone to the moon. They are brought down there. What is impossible then? Similarly, I can't control attachment. I can't control anger. I can't control this and that. It is impossible. Don't say impossible. There is nothing impossible. Tremendous capacity is there. In the human mind, have faith in yourself, you will achieve it. That spirit must come. Then only these ideas will be translated into human life and work. So, non-attachment can begin in certain areas, extend later on to other areas. But it's a wonderful teaching. What goes on? Attachment goes away. Attachment makes for bondage. Bondage for both. The one who is attached, the one on whom attachment is placed. Both are in bondage there. No bondage. Free. That attitude will come when we have the spirit of detachment. Therefore, tasmāt asaktas satatam. Satatam means always. Karyam karma samāchara. Whatever duties you have to do in life, karyam means what is to be done. Do them. Do all those actions with great trust and devotion, not in a spirit of detachment. And when you do so, asakto hyacharan karma. Karma apnoti puruಷ. He achieved the supreme in this life through the practice of that detachment. Then Krishna gives an example how doing one's work, discharging one's social responsibilities, people have achieved the highest realization. And the famous example taken in many of our books, the story of Janaka. Janaka was the ruler of the kingdom, but he was a Brahmajnani. Even Shura was sent for a spiritual education to this king Janaka in our old literature. So that example Krishna is taking here. Don't think that only when you are away in some forest you can practice detachment. You can practice it in the midst of all the worldly things that are around you. In fact, detachment practice when there is nothing to trouble you is not a great heroic action. There is nothing to trouble you. Here there are things to trouble. Still you are able to stand it. That is the heroic attitude. That is what Krishna says now. The example is taken in verse 20. Karmanaiva samsiddhim aastita janakālaya yoga sangrahamevapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Men like Janaka, who was a great king, they all performed actions and attained perfection. Samsiddhim means perfection. Karmanaiva, by performing actions alone, they achieved samsiddhi. He had no attachment. He was sitting on the throne, he was a king, people honor him, he is not carried away by all this. It's a wonderful achievement. When a little knowledge of the Atman comes, this energy comes to you, this power comes to you. That people know there is that power. A person is carried away by a small little temptation in the world outside. How small that man must be. Here is a man, huge temptations come, no disturbance at all. That is the example given in the second chapter towards the end. Apuryamānam achala pradishtham samatramāpa pravishanti yadvat. Our mind must be like a mighty lake, full to the brim, into which so many rivers flow without disturbing that lake, without shaking that lake. Our mind must be like that. That's what our Gita said earlier. Strong, stable minds, gigantic minds, heroic minds, goody-goody small type of people. Too many small people there. That should not be. Some strong people must be there, heroic attitudes must be there. All that will come only when we start this kind of struggle. Then something great will happen to this nation. That Gita teaching is real. We are experimenting it in our life and we find it fine. It makes us better and better and better, more happy, more cheerful, more peaceful, more happy inter-human relationship becomes possible. Therefore, he said, Karmanaiva samsiddhim. Astita Janakadaya, without leaving a faction, going to the forest, in the very midst of action, even as a king, men like Janaka achieved samsiddhi, perfection. Loka sangrahamevapi, sampashyan kartumarhasi. Suppose you have no desire of your own, you are free. You don't need to work at all. Still, you must work, because there are others who need. You are there to help. Just of Loka Sangraha, the wonderful concept in the Gita, ethics of Loka Sangraha, welfare of the world. Why should anybody suffer in my society? I am here. I am to see, as Gandhiji said, wipe the tears from the last weeping person in my society. There also again, action continues. But it is not for my own sake, but for the good of others. That is the very important concept of ethics in the Gita, Loka Sangraha. Not merely our own society, the international community. How to see that the whole world is made better, happier, more fulfilled. I am here to work for it. I have nothing to gain for myself. That attitude. So he is adding this, Loka Sangraha Mevapi. Even from that point of view, don't remain quiet. Though you have no desire, work for others. How much more we should do, those who are in the world with our own problems, we can sympathize with others' problems. Therefore, continue to work, help each other. Parasparam bhavayanta, shreyapparam avapsyata. One of the biggest things that have come to India today is this concept of parasparam bhavayanta. 40 years of freedom. We celebrated here on the 20th public meeting. 40 years of freedom. To the government of India, government of Andhra Pradesh, they organized the meeting here. There this subject came. What have we done in 40 years? We could have achieved wonderful things. Banished illiteracy, even this much poverty, we could have destroyed it. But all the upper class people became so self-centered. They don't care for anybody else. All the colleges, all the schools, all will be near about the towns. Rural areas are completely neglected. 300 million people. This is what they did. The result is we are in this lopsided development, apparently of a nation, but at feet of clay. Absolutely weak we are. Third greatest manpower scientific in the world. And yet 300 million people are poverty stricken. What's the use of that scientific manpower? Now this kind of thinking has just begun. It will do immense good. In that context, the Gita ideas will be a tremendous inspiration to translate all these into actual character forms, to transform the human situation. So, Loka Sangraha Mevati, Sampashyan Kartumarhasi. Even from the point of view of Loka Sangraha, Sangraha means protection, care, etc. Welfare, Loka means common people, the millions that are there, keep them in view. Don't keep only yourself in view. That is, Gandhiji told one of the patriots at that time, whenever you have a doubt on a particular question, you just keep quiet for a minute, ask a question to yourself. If I do this, will it bring good to the lowest man in society? If it will bring good, then you adopt it. That kind of idea that Gandhiji gave. How to choose an action? We can choose it for our own fattening. No. Does it bring good to all? Bring good to the poorest and the lowest people? Then it will be perfectly alright. A lot of such thinking has to come to our nation. We have been too self-centered at the upper levels, and whatever policies are given in the parliament, when it comes to implementation, it is cut down, so little reach the people who are far below. That has been our experience all this time. That will go when we understand these teachings as given the Gita and in Vivekananda literature. So, Loka Sangraha, the tremendous concept of general human welfare. concerned with it, I have responsibility towards it, and in society, I am a citizen, it's my responsibility. Therefore, Loka Sangraha must be a constant attitude in our mind. Does it go to the nation as a whole? We always consider only what is good for me. In a village I have seen the powerful members of the village, whatever is good for them, they will do. And they will do everything to achieve it also. But what is good for the common people, nobody will care. Nobody will care. How can a nation grow when people behave like this? But it is going on every minute, every day. Therefore, a little of this philosophy must enter into the mind and heart of people. Loka sangrahamevapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. Then Krishna gives a universal truth. In society, there is such a thing as imitation of people of other people. Suppose there is a village, there is an important person there. Whatever way he does, other people will like to follow him. It is a mimetic tendency in society, imitation tendency in society. In sociology you study it. So, if that is so, I must set an example so that those who imitate me will do good and not bad. So anybody who is prominent in society has to take a standard. That subject is coming now. With Krishna taking his own example also, a very interesting section in this third chapter. It says, Yadvidājaraka shreshtaha tattadeva itaro jana sayapramānam kudute lokastat anuvartate. Says, whatever the superior person does in a society, all others try to follow him, imitate him. Shrestha is the word. Shrestha means maybe in position, money, intellect, political power, towards more of this is there, that person is the Shrestha in that particular section. So whatever he does, we try to follow. That is the nature of human society. Yadya rajara Shrestha tat eva itaro jana. Other people also do the same thing. Sayat pramanam kurute. Lokastat anuvartate. Whatever standard he keeps up, all others follow that very standard. What a beautiful concept. That's why today there is corruption at the top, corruption from top to bottom is going on. Why? That is example that is set before me. I follow the same. That's human nature. So the top must be clear. Absolutely. In our concept of human society, we had a wonderful idea. The highest man in society is the poorest man. The Brahmana of the old Hindu society was the poorest man in the world, poorest priesthood in the world, the Brahmana. But he kept a very high standard of conduct and behavior for centuries together, till the whole society fell down in its decadent period. So we have that concept. He will never tell a lie. When Ramakrishna's father, Khudiram Chatterjee, was asked by his zemindar to give false witness in the court, by which he will gain, though it is entirely a false witness. He asked Ramakrishna to do so. Ramakrishna's father. He said, no, I know it is wrong. I know it is not true. I cannot be a false witness. That man was a wicked man. Then he will have to suffer. I don't mind. I will have to speak the truth only. I am not going to give any false witness. Because of that, Ramakrishna's father, was sent out of that village. Go out of this village. You have no place here. He took his bundle, wife, which is one child, started walking out. I don't care. I am going out. After some distance, another zemindar, another village, saw him. He was a good man. You please come and stay in my village. I will give you a piece of land. Be here. There Ramakrishna was born. See that quality of life. High standard. Money is not everything. There is honor, there is truth. All these things are there. We have to suffer, but we have to. That capacity must be there. So we are losing that capacity. For example, you wanted to get freedom, you had to suffer. You had to get police beating. But when he came forward, how much beating people got. Govind Vallabh Pant's centenary you celebrated a few days ago. He was beaten here, and permanently he has always a shaky body, shaky hand because of that. So I'm telling you, great achievements cannot come cheaply. You have to pay the price for it. We have that capacity. That is completely gone now. That is our misfortune today. Yad yada jagate shrestha tattadeve itarodina. Other people follow the way, the shrestha shows the way. Sayat pramanam kurute yogastat anuvartade. Whatever pramana he keeps up, standard he keeps up, others follow that standard. The father at home keeps a standard. Mother also keeps a standard. Children will follow the ways of the father and mother. People forget it very often that around them are little children, very critical and observant. Children are very observant of what the father is doing, mother is doing, every word. And if they do bad things, they will also, alright, we shall do double of that bad thing. It will be natural. That is the concept. So, he is telling here, to be in the top of society is not easy. You have to set high standards. That is not what is happening. In fact, more and more, wicked people are getting all the honor in a society. Just like in Australia or in England or America, somebody robs a bank or a running train, millions of dollars, that man becomes such a hero. Books are written, he becomes a millionaire in no time. Common people have no place at all. An honest man has no place at all. An inverted type of social value system. Here Krishna is giving this teaching. Yadyada devade shrestha tattadeve itarodinaha sayat pramanam kurute yogastat anuvartate. Whatever pramana or standard he keeps up, others follow him, follow her. Therefore, beware. If you are a leader, give an example, a good example for the rest of the community. To be a leader is not very easy. You have to be very strict about yourself. That is the teaching. Third chapter, he is giving us in the Gita, Karma Yoga. The yoga of act, living in society and working. How careful we have to be that you increase only the good in that society, not the bad in that society. That's called leadership in the true sense of the term. So, having said this, Krishna is going to tell you his own example. That is a fine way in which he has put it. He is not telling what others do. I also see my example. I have nothing to give in the world, but how active I am. That is the subject that is coming in the next 2-3 verses, which we shall take up when we meet again next time.